Good morning everyone and welcome to Master Guidance on this still chilly and frosty day, but then again it is winter, so I am honoured to be with you today, warm and snugly inside, so thank you for having me. I have pre-shuffled today and I have pre-drawn to try and make this a little bit shorter so that you can get on with what you need to get on with. So what I've done, I'll bring you down very briefly to show, and so I've drawn the cards. I'll lay them out in a moment when we get to that stage, and I have also drawn my Meister's Guidance reading. So the reading we have for today from Meister, and it was very interesting actually. It's one I haven't had before. So the guidance we've got today that we want to follow through is about questioning. Examine and identify any belief that stems from an irrational fear. Ask yourself, do I still need this? If the answer is no, then replace it with a trusting, more loving belief. Blessings flow as soon as you do this and set yourself free. So when I read this, I had a little think about fear before I drew the other cards, and irrational fear, because in all honesty, fear is anxiety about something that hasn't happened yet and may never happen, and usually does not happen. Fear is usually irrational. Now you can be concerned about something happening in the future, but you then have several choices, two of which are, is there anything you can do about it? And if there is nothing you can do about it, then the way I deal with potential fear is I let it go. But if there is something you can do, then take action to change the course of what you perceive is coming forward. So I had a little quick looked at a couple of acronyms that I thought were very appropriate. So this irrational fear is very much about false evidence or false emotion appearing real. So these are events, this is evidence that is not true, or emotions that don't suit the situation, but they appear real at the time, and fear is a very real emotion. However, it is also an illusion. Fear is working yourself into anxiety about something that very likely will never happen. It's repeatedly re-experiencing a future failure, a future event. So it is getting yourself wound into a spiral in regards to something that may or may not happen in the future. So I thought a very apt acronym that we can change it to is feeling excited and ready. Feeling excited and ready. Examine and identify any belief that stems from an irrational fear, which is the false evidence or false emotion. Ask yourself, do I still need it? If the answer is no, then replace it with a trusting, more loving belief, a feeling excited and ready. If you'd like to pause and read it for yourself. Beautiful. Okay, let us see what cards Meister has given us to just expand on that, the concept of false evidence, false emotions appearing real, and how to change it to feeling excited and ready. So the decks I'm using are my Australian Wildflower reading cards, which are these. Then I have my Nature's Whispers Oracle cards, and then I use my Cosmic Guidance Oracle cards. So let's see what Meister has put for us. I haven't looked at these, so I'm completely as fresh as you are. So what Meister has given us is overcoming, and that is, it's difficult. I won't even pretend that it's not. But this reading is about overcoming an irrational fear. Assertiveness, which means that we really need to, it's very much about changing the wiring in your thought process, the wiring in your brain. And that comes out of practice and habit, and it's about being aware of your unconscious thoughts as well as your conscious thoughts, and deliberately changing them when you see them going down a particular path, or just even practicing a different thought if you know that you do fall into this irrational fear. Practicing a different thought so that you can immediately draw on it if you feel that you're going down this irrational fear path that can be very overwhelming and so we're trying to overcome the groove in the disc, so to speak. For a record player, you're trying to alter the groove on the disc, you're trying to alter the recording on the cassette player, and so that you can immediately spring into something different when you feel the irrational fear approaching. So this is about overcoming that irrational fear and being assertive about overcoming, and through that you can have the last line of this reading, set yourself free, which is very much a rebirth. So I haven't looked at these cards. Let's see what Meister has. So under overcoming, he's got assurance. Wow, okay. So very, very on track for this. This is about assuring yourself that instead of falling into the false evidence, the false emotions appearing real, embrace the emotions and feel excited and ready. If you can change something, then take the steps to change it. And be excited about what change brings for you. A lot of people, so a lot of this irrational fear is fear of change. A lot of people, that's where the nastiness of the far right is coming from, is because they fear change. They want to go back to what is comfortable. And this is about being excited and ready for change. Change is generally positive as long as you embrace it and are excited about it. So feel excited and ready. So the assurance in regards to the overcoming is about rewriting that message that you instinctively fall into when you feel fear coming on, when you feel changes coming on. Whether it's losing a job, whether it's a relationship breakdown, it's about being excited about what possibilities are coming. Now, I've lost several jobs over the years due to either downsizing or the company's gone contracting, and I've preferred not to contract. I prefer to have a permanent position. So I've chosen to leave. So I have gone for many jobs, and every single time a new door was opened to me that was more exciting than the place, the situation that I was already in. I was going to say the grind, the rut, the comfortable rut that I was in. Every time something has happened, it's been more exciting. I've had relationship breakdowns like most people, devastating as they are at the time, and you need to grieve at the time for them. The relationships that have come afterwards have been more fulfilling and more beneficial because I have worked out who I was, worked out the message that I want to bring, and felt excited. So under assertiveness, we have open your heart. Open your heart. And this is about opening your heart to the possibilities of what can happen in a loving way. And then we have rebirth and make a decision. And honestly, at the end of the day, how you react to change, how you react to situations in your life is very much your decision. And you can choose prior to any event how you are going to receive the information in regards to that event. And that comes down to the writing on your brain wiring, the groove in your record, the recording on your cassette, the light beam on your CD player, however it is your decision. And honestly, it's easier if you make that decision beforehand, so that when the situation arises and the emotions are involved, you can automatically engage what that choice will be. So under overcoming and assurance, we have head, logic and evaluation. I haven't even looked at these yet. But there I was talking about how you write the message that goes on in your head. And this is very much about prior to any event. Look at how you will handle situations in advance and be logic and evaluate them, so that when events do occur, and often fear is repeatedly re-experiencing a future failure, so you will have generally a history of how you will react to a particular situation. And this is very much about going into your head and using logic and evaluation prior to an event to actually rewrite the messaging that you will be telling yourself. Okay, under assertiveness and open your heart, we have love. Allow it to pour in and out of you. So this is very much about, this is about rewriting the message. This row is about how you are going to react to the situations. And if you go into any situation with an undercurrent of love, and this is open your heart and love, allow it to pour in and out of you. If you go into any situation with love, empathy, compassion, excitement, then what flows to you is what you are putting out. It comes back to you. I'd love to know some situations. I can only draw on what I know. The death of a pet, absolutely devastating. Had to put my old dog down many years ago. But what has come into my life instead, by grieving for my old dog who had cancer, burying her, giving her the best farewell that was possible, so we worked this all out in advance. The vet came to the house. She passed away under her favourite tree on her favourite rug, and then we buried her in her favourite spot on the farm. And because we had gone through all this previously, and it was awful because she was a beautiful dog and had been in our lives for a long time, but by opening the heart and allowing the love to flow in and out, to pour in and out, we were able to home 2 more rescue dogs who are, to be honest, are living their best lives. And this is about by embracing a situation with love and empathy, logic and evaluation, and how you choose to actually react to any situation will reflect on what you receive from that moment. And yes, when photographs of my old dog still pop up on social media in my memories, yes, I do miss her. But I just pour love out to her, and then am grateful for the time that she was in my life. Okay, under rebirth and make a decision, we have healing. Wow, okay. Which is quite interesting, because on this reading, it's as soon as you do this, you will set yourself free, which is very much about healing. Allow light to enter your wounds and heal. I'm just pausing there for a moment because it just seems so profound that by replacing an irrational fear, and I know in some parts of the world the fear is very real, but you either find yourself spiraling down in that fear where you become almost paralyzed to do anything, or you make the choice to act, making decisions, you make the choice to either embrace what is happening or take action. And 99.99% of the time you can take action in regards to that fear. Now, whether it's a fear of an abusive partner, whether it's a fear of losing your job, whether it's a fear of becoming homeless, there is always action that you can do, and there are always steps that you can take that are scary, because it is about making choices and making change, and a lot of fear is that we are scared of making the wrong choices. We are fearful of making the wrong choices. However, unless you make a choice, you are purely repeating a future experience that has not happened yet. Okay, I hope that touched you in a way that you needed to hear today. But I examine and identify any belief that stems from an irrational fear and ask yourself, do I still need this? And this gets back to the core of your heart. Do you need this fear of what may not happen in your life? And if the answer is no, because it is a fear of a future event that may very never happen, ask yourself how to replace that with feeling excited and being ready for what comes to you. And feeling ready can be, okay, there's a fear of electrical issues. I know in for example in Texas in the US there's a fear of the electrical grid going out. Or what can you do about that? Instead of just fearing it, you can always take steps to counteract that, and whether that is through buying a generator or whether it is simply investing in candles and a cooking stove, or whether it's going and visiting your aunt in Florida, or whether it is stockpiling tinned foods to be able to share with your neighbours and family, whatever that fear is. Feel excited and make yourself ready for, and be ready for what is coming. It may never come. Start of COVID 2020, early 2020, the supermarkets were being stripped of food. So I must admit, like everybody else, I went down and got some extras, some tinned food and rice, and knowing that, and soup, beans and all the rest of it, knowing that if worse comes to worse, we could still eat. It wasn't what we usually ate, but we could still eat. When that moment passed, so I did something to make ourselves ready and prepared. When that period passed and the supermarket shelves were all stocked again, I went down and put that food into our local community pantry for those that are not as well off, so that they could have something to eat and have a full belly. So it's about preparing. It's about opening your heart and embracing whatever is coming. It's about sharing, but it is very much about rewriting that message that plays in your mind when you are faced with uncertainty. Rewriting that message, you either embrace it and, well, the ideal is to embrace it and power through, and that comes from opening your heart and being logical about it. Opening your heart and being logical. Okay, 3 cards from Work Your Light Tarot, Work Your Light Oracle, please, just to finish up today. Thank you, Master. 3 cards from Work Your Light. 2 cards, 1 card, 2 cards, yes, 3 cards. I usually I say 1, but I think I'll get 3. 3 seems to be a number that both myself and Master prefer. 3 cards, please, Master. 3 cards to finish off today. Replacing fear with excitement and love. 3 cards to finish up, please, Meister. Okay. The 3 cards we've got. First of all, we've got the crumbling. What are you clinging onto? And this really, if you look at the picture, it really does evoke, this is the fear that we have written hardwired into our minds. What are we clinging onto that is irrational, that we do not need? What is it that we are fearing? And this looks quite fearful. The thunderstorms, the decayed building, the darkness, etc. Yet we have this opportunity to break through into this beauty. And that comes from rewriting the hardwiring program in your mind. But need to question the crumbling. What are you clinging onto? Warrior woman, boy, she comes up for us a lot. And this is about really invoking the feminine energy. The empathy, the compassion, the love, the softness, the protectiveness, the caring, the community, very much feminine energy about sharing and looking after others. And have you answered your deepest calling? Have you answered your deepest calling? She comes up for us a lot. She likes to pop in. And then we have deep replenishment. Retreat, rest, and be held. Now, I'm never going to say that being fearful is easy to overcome. It isn't. I will admit, having been through it, it is incredibly stressful. And this is about taking self-care and looking after yourself. Retreat, rest, and be held. And even if that's only held by yourself, held by your spirits, held by nature, lying in the grass in the park or something and just inhaling the scent of nature, but be held. Or be held by loved ones, or be held by good friends or family. But replenish yourself. This is very much about looking after yourself first. If you don't look after yourself first, you cannot share with anybody else. So thank you, Meister, for those words. Go forth into the week. Just reassess what it is that you may be holding on to that is not working for you. Do you still need it? And if the answer is no, replace it with a more loving belief. With a more loving belief. Invoke your inner warrior woman. This is also about, she's got the sword of wisdom, the sword of intellect, the sword of truth. Invoke the warrior woman. Bring her forward as you rewrite your internal dialogue and draw on her strength, and then care for yourself. Okay, thank you for joining me. Oh, goodness, that was lovely. So thank you. Love to you all, love and light, and I shall catch you next time. Bye-bye.